Now let's get a conversation going. Yesterday, the special prosecutor issued a statement and said there was some level of misinformation every day because they went into the house or the homes of Cecilia Dapa, the former sanitation minister, and said there was some misreporting by way of the videos, and then also all that has been happening by news houses on social media as well. And so we'll put that into perspective, and then we'll discuss the 10 individuals as they have been now balloted on that ballot sheet for the Super Delegates Conference of the MPP. Now, let me just also run this by. Are you ready to win loads of cash every day? You have the chance to be the proud winner of cash simply by being a loyal audience or viewer of TV3NewDay. And this is how you get to win the cash, and I mean every day. So tune in to TV3NewDay every day, and that is step one. If you have an MTN number, it is very easy also. So you dial the number *439#, *439#. You pick TV3s because you're going to get a prompt, which is number 2 in the list of Media General stations. Now, all you have to do is to wait, as also we give you lots of cash, and then you become the lucky viewer who gets to win. It's starting from Monday, the 24th of July, 2023. So again, dial *439#, and you pick 2. That will be the option, and then you select TV3. So you can play now. It's very mouth-watering, and it's brought to you on the Caritas platform in partnership from Media General, Radio Entertainment Limited, and regulated by the National Lottery Authority, of course, on the Caritas platform. So all terms and conditions are applying. All right, James Tete Boake, you've joined us. Now, the special prosecutor says that it will undertake a public viewing. How are you?
Fine.
Fine again, eh?
Yeah.
What do you make so far progressively work with Rich, especially with the special prosecutor on this matter of Madam Cecilia Dapa, the former sanitation minister?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say a very good morning to your cherished viewers. And then what I want to say with regards to Madam Cecilia is that what has happened to her can happen to anybody. We should not be quick to judge her. Nobody really knows the source of the money. I believe in the judicial system, and I believe in the OSP and other agencies who have taken an interest in this issue. So I don't think as Ghanaians we should preempt the conclusions of the investigation. Whatever investigation they are carrying out with regards to what happened in her home was purely a private matter until it came into the public domain. So for me, I believe in the judicial system, I believe in the OSP, and I also understand that the CID too has taken an interest in the case. So for me, I think that we should be patient enough to wait for the agencies to do their work for us to reach a conclusion. But the Cecilia Dapa that I know she's a very astute, she's an astute politician, a professional, and her approach to her work has been diligent and commitment to whatever she was doing until she resigned. So talking about her work ethics, she has been an excellent minister. Yeah, so for me, I think that we should not preempt the conclusions of whatever investigation is going on. So many things were thrown into the public domain.
Like
and
what?
Luckily, the misinformation that the OSP talked about. So I think that whoever is behind or those behind should desist from doing that until we reach a conclusion where the OSP will come out with the findings with regards to what they have established. And like the president said, at the end of the day, we are very sure that she will be vindicated and the truth will be established so that people will have confidence in her once again. Yeah.
Gabriela, it's been said that the president in his response seemed to have said that she'll be vindicated, almost like preempting what the outcome will be. What do you say to that?
Let me say good morning to our viewers. The very thing that my dear sister is here telling us not to do is exactly what Akufo-Addo himself has done.
What do you mean by that?
He's already jumped to conclusion that she's going to be exonerated. I think that the rules governing money laundering and politically exposed persons is very clear in this country. The LI 1987 that supports the Financial Intelligence Center's activities spells out who politically exposed persons are and the kind of transactions that, the kind of due diligence that goes around such personalities. I've heard arguments around why she's holding that kind of money in her house, if truly it is as the propagandist of the NPP and PR machinery of the NPP has set out to unleash, to brainwash Ghanaians, that it is funeral donations. One argument says it's funeral donations. Another argument says it was transferred from a brother to a mother who is deceased. The mother herself is deceased. And as you know, dead men tell no tales. So eventually they want us to...
They don't talk.
The dead don't talk. So they want us to abruptly end and conclude that this is money that she's supposed to have inherited from family members. Be it as it may, even if that was the case, and if it's genuine money that has been given to you by family members, then you have justification to put that money in the bank. You have good reason if the Financial Intelligence Center comes after you and why you are holding that quantum of money in your account. You have justified explanation that this is money that was transferred from one family member to another who are both deceased and now has come into your possession. So for me, the whole thing is a bit murky. I've also heard, and I think there was she just made mention of that also as well, that aside the fact that we are jumping to conclusion, there's a bit of misinformation out there. We all saw on our TV set, at least those of us who were following live coverage of events on the day, we all saw when those black Libya Land Cruisers left OSP's premises with Madame Cecilia Dapa to her houses, 3 houses, cantonments, Abelempe, Ablekuma. In Abelempe, she lived in a community close to where Abelempe Zongo is. People saw the vehicles enter the yard. The security people who went there to investigate, at some point in the investigations, were coming in and out of the compound. People were having conversations with them. What is going on here? What's happening here? People were openly saying that. And it was just the people who were saying there who said it. Even the media men who followed them reported that they had found substantial monies in her house. And people have chastised TV3 that you come to conclusions and claim something that didn't exist.
We had sources.
Exactly. Because aside you, the media house, TV3 reported, Joy FM reported, and I know of media personnel who were on the grounds that day, and even people in that community who all said the same thing, that what they have seen in the house, if the OSP uses it, Madame Cecilia Dapa will have a lot of questions to answer. But you see, Roland, this is not an issue that we can easily sweep under the carpet and conclude on this matter. Because the people of Ghana today are demanding accountability from political leadership. Corruption is worse than a plague inflicting this country. We have a country where 30% of our GDP is lost to corruption. We are talking $10 billion per annum. Monies that are denying people education, healthcare, roads, potable water, being lost to corruption because political leadership is failing and failing woefully in arresting corruption or even minimizing corruption. Since Akufo-Addo came into governance, it appears that he has inflicted corruption the same way he has allowed galamsey to be perpetrated upon this country and raped to the core. How is it that a political appointee has $1 million, 300,000 euros, quantum of Ghana cedis that she says they can't even tell how much Ghana cedis was lost? I asked the question, so if this is what was taken, then what exactly was in that house? We have legislation that is used to to check the conduct of public officials. In the NDC administration, at least, in our attempt to address corruption and corruption-related activities. This LI that I mentioned, the LI 1987, it has a very unique number. LI 1987, that was used to strengthen the accountability and ensure the due diligence and compliance of political appointees. In informal conversations I had with people from the Financial Intelligence Center at the time, they even told me that people who even have, at the time, transacted even 80,000 cedis in your account, the system will flag you if you're a politically exposed person. And in fact, the system identifies all politically exposed persons in this country and are flagged. That is why when you go to the bank, even your transactions, the bank will ask you to fill extra forms. People associated with you, to the extent that even your house helps, are all considered politically exposed persons. So when you look at the caliber of personalities who have come into the arena because of what those two house helps have done, these people are all politically exposed persons as per the definition as we define it here in Ghana. And it is mandatory on the state to ensure that people in that category follow some form of decorum when it comes to financial transactions, because the state has put so much responsibility on you. The state has given you the power to approve transactions, to disprove transactions, contracts that can affect the welfare of the state. And for that matter, the state puts in other legislation to ensure that there's some compliance, conformity, and should anything happen, and then you go against those legislations, sanctions are given. So we should not jump to conclusions as it is said, but the fact still remains that she still has a lot of questions to answer. When they make the argument about this whole thing with funeral donations, Roland, my mother died in 2015. Even at that time, it was the banks that came to collect funeral donations. So if you have a funeral in recent times, what stopped you, if you were not afraid to expose yourself to the financial due diligence that goes with politically exposed persons? What stopped you at the time from using the banks to collect funeral donations? So Madam Cecilia Dapa, I'm not jumping to conclusion that she's a thief or anything like that. That is for the courts, as they said, or also the special prosecutor and the investigators to let us know. But for the quantum of money that she has in her possession, and for a politically exposed person, she has a lot of accountability to do to all of us as citizens. And because, you see, Roland, currently as it stands, there's a lot of mistrust from the people of Ghana concerning politicians. They think that the reason why they are not seeing development and any betterment in their standard of living is because the political class has only come into this country to expose financial benefits to themselves and to grab as if tomorrow shall never come. There is a responsibility on the state, including Akufo-Addo himself, to ensure that the OSP, that's an independent job. And I think that at this point, the onus is also on Mr. Kesie Jabin. 3.5 years of he being in office as a special prosecutor. He has given us 2 reports on his tenure. He's done 114 investigations, and he's only been able to prosecute some 2 or 3. His effectiveness is being questioned. So at this point in time, I would expect that the tide should change.
But
for once in the
argument has also been made, especially by assigns of the ruling party and government, that there could be, the money could be hers.
If the money is yours, it's a very simple issue. Explain how you came by the money. That is all that the thing is asking you to do.
Simply.
Show us the money trail. If they said the money belonged to your husband because he's an architect and he's designed so many landmark buildings in Accra, the fact that you've designed a building that cost $8 million to construct does not mean that you earned $8 million. How much is architect fees? It's a 0.2%, 0.5% of the project, averagely. And even that, you still have to pay draftsmen, staff, all kinds of people. So even if it is from the man, it is from you, it is an inheritance, whatever be the case, you have to justify because of the caliber of person that you are.
Okay. If you look at the explanations going around, the latest explanation is about how the Dankwa Buzia tradition seemed to have been hounded within the period of the 70s, the Kalabule days, you remember, and then the PNDC, etc. And so they seem to have gotten the values of not always hoarding their money or depositing their money in the bank, etc. You are surprised, eh? It's part of the 800,000.
Who didn't roll in sound?
Okay,
What
great.
has that got to do
So
with
is that a good justification?
What about the CPP that Rollins took us out
Exactly. Is that a good
of?
justification?
That is not. I mean, they should stop giving frivolous
I don't
reasons.
think that is an official statement from any party, like
Right.
the MPP.
Right.
Maybe
I haven't said
it's-
it as an. I'm
yeah.
saying as part of the latest argument
yeah,
we're
yeah,
getting
but-
defending this.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
see,
I didn't mention the MPP.
Yeah.
Please
But
go ahead.
like some communicators, I've heard about the inheritance and all that. Good morning to you, Roland. Good morning to
Yeah,
my
thank you.
sisters, and good morning to your viewers, and good morning to my CPP comrades. Roland, you see some of the issues going around. This is not tenable. I mean, it doesn't. People are sympathetic. They want to justify it, but it's not tenable. What I think we shouldn't, delve or run into is the fact that to say categorically that it is corruption.
Nobody has said it all.
You hear people talking about.
Okay, so let me put
corruption.
a scenario before you, and you are a very experienced person, so I'll put a scenario
Yeah.
before you. If you look at some of the media houses, they decided to go to Kumasi, and they did a sampling of the Vox Pop or the citizens there. And averagely, we know that Kumasi is a hub for voting for the ruling party,
Yeah.
and that is true. If you look at some of the content and the opinion they have, it is the perception, and it is the perception that feeds into collecting data for the corruption perception index,
Yeah.
for which, if you look at how the government of Nana Addo has performed since it came into office, it's been dipping.
You see, the point is that we need to. Auntie Cecilia or Mrs. Dapa herself hasn't done well for herself
How?
because she hasn't come out to explain how she came by the money. So there is a lot of speculation around the activity. She should be able. The first press conference she brought, I thought she would add more information instead of saying that there are inconsistencies in the narrative out there. She should have told us more about how she came by the money since it has become public. The issue that is also of consequence is the fact that why did she take it to court? You need to look at it very well that if the money is illegal, why did she take it to court? Because court is an open place. There are sniffer dogs around sniffing for information every day. Sniffer dogs, as in politicians, dogs as in inverted commas, sniffing for information. There are journalists around. So why did she take the thing to an open court? These are questions that we have to ask, and these are questions that she has to come and answer. She's left so much room for speculation. But the issue here is that if the issue is in court, why has the OSP2 come in? To do what? Is he coming in so that she's protected or what? I mean, why? Because once you are an issue in court, you'll be a witness. And the court will ask you how you came by the money to prove to everybody that truly the money that has been stolen is mine. So whatever transactions that brought the money to you, those transactions will be made bare. So why has the OSP also come into the matter? Maybe it's within his purview. As it stands now, Cecilia Dapa is also a private citizen because she has resigned. She's no longer a politically exposed person. So why is the OSP interested? Once the CID is there, the police is there, why is he interested? Why did he just come in like that? And this thing was, the whole saga of this money issue started in 2022. Why is it becoming a matter today? Who has brought it to the fore? Who has an interest? Who is using it as a tool of distraction? Because truly, something that happened in 2022, we are in 2023. I heard June 2022, the matter happened. It went to court. So who has brought it up at this time? That everybody is following it. And we are not halting to see what is being hidden, that they are using this one as a cover-up. Because it does not make sense. Nothing makes sense in this whole business. But Roland, the most important aspect of it is the fact that a public servant at that level is aiding in the exercise to weaken the strength of our city. Because if you keep such dollars, your currency in dollars at home, it means you are weakening the strength of our city, the economy. And for me, that is what is important, because the Bank of Ghana governor was lamenting that because of this kind of attitude, I mean, we are having issues with our CD depreciating every time. But within your own circle of government, there's some people or somebody keeping money. Is it that the government themselves, they've lost trust?
You mean the key members of the government?
Key members of the government. They've lost trust in our currency, so they prefer to keep their money in dollars.
Big question.
And that is key. Have they? I mean, they don't believe in our CD anymore, and that they have to keep their money in dollars, whilst we, the poor ones, keep our money in CDs. That is the question, because we are looking at different currencies. We have the euro, which is a foreign hard currency. We have the dollar, and they are saying that there is more. So does it mean that all these years, government officials are keeping the money in dollars? So are they not also part of the depreciation? Because we are always blaming the Nigerians, the black market people. Now this is more black market than
indeed. Most of them were rounded up within that period, September, October,
yes.
November,
not
December.
Knowing the
apparently money was available.
Yes, not knowing the real black market was happening in the rooms of our politicians.
You can't generalize. It's
No,
just
no.
an issue about one
No,
person.
but
So it is unfair for you to say government officials.
Please write it down.
Yeah.
Write your points down.
No, because you see, yesterday I came across a story of a lawyer who has lost money in dollars.
A presidential staffer, you said?
I didn't even know.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know that it was a presidential staffer. Then later on, I just chanced on the fact that the person is a presidential staffer and a lawyer. A legal something in. So I'm like, what's going on? In a space of about 2 weeks, 2 government people are losing money. And it is very, very essential that we let the government understand that this is Ghana that we have, and we need to be careful how they conduct themselves. Asset declaration should be key. That before you take any public office, you should be made to declare your assets. And for the ministers, it should be a prerequisite for vetting and passing through vetting successfully. And when you are exiting, there should be an exit asset declaration. And it should be asset declaration not only for yourself, for your children, for your wife, for your husband, everybody around you close. So that you see, it is also good because so that everybody will know who is what and what you have financially. It does not mean that if you are a politician, you should be poor. I heard people talking about some perfumes that Madam has. And bags. Kente. And Madam
Suits.
has that was stolen. $95,000 and all that. You see, we need to be very careful not to label politicians as poor. That you are poor and you go into politics and you become rich. There are people who have their money already and they go into politics. There are people who have even in politics, they have their businesses. So that's why I'm saying she's too quiet. She should come out and tell us. We shouldn't wait for, you see, the moment let's assume that she's even exonerated, there will be question marks.
From which point?
From the OSP, that, the money is hers. She should have come to tell us from the very beginning that this is my own money, I got it A, B, C, D from here. And why didn't she also use the banks? Then it means that the government officials, this is an example, have lost trust in our banking system because some people lost money during the banking sector cleanup. People have lost money now. They are even afraid to put their money in the bank as in dollars because they are not even sure that if I need money for a certain transaction, I will get it. So is that what it is? But the 2 key sectors of the economy, people who are in government are not interested in taking part of it. Whilst we partake of the services of the banks, we partake in using the CD as a medium of exchange as financially, the people in government are not. These are things that we should look at. For the fact that she's kept money at home, that one is not the best for somebody of her stature. It's as if, I mean, even for people to steal money in your house and you don't recognize that money is being stolen, it's problematic.
What do you make of the explanation? 800,000 for the brother giving to the mother, both have died, funeral donations, personal monies, etc.
You see, personal monies, funeral donations, as they are still money. And you know, keeping money at home is not safe. I heard Johnny saying this morning that you can have a contingent of military men in your house, so you can be robbed. So even keeping money in the house is not safe. And keeping money to the extent that it is open, transparent. Your house helps to know that you have this amount of money, and even more, it is dangerous because they are human beings. They are human beings. So they will be attracted to the money. Because for somebody to be stealing money, it means the money has been left ajar. It is not even in a safe that is locked. Because if it's in a safe that is locked, certainly it will be very difficult for somebody to decide to steal. But now the problem too is that we have left the side of the thieves.
And before the court.
Yes, but everybody's focus is on.
How is that a subject matter?
It is a subject
for
matter.
A politically exposed person.
A politically exposed person is also a human being.
Yeah, but that's why the court is dealing with.
I am saying that we have to also talk about house helps who steal from their masters. It is something that is going on. People are suffering it and they are quiet.
Some say that's a diversion by way of the argument.
Why is it a diversion? Why?
I mean, the matter is before the court, so the court will deal with
it does not matter
the offenses
because it has happened.
And honestly appropriated.
Yes, it has happened because and it is a human interest matter. Because all of us sitting here, everybody, unless that you are not that busy, you have somebody help, either a help that comes and goes or a help that lives with you. And it is very common. People are not talking about it. They keep quiet because Ghanaians are losing a lot of their items because of house helps. And the danger that is associated with it, I think there should be a way for us to deal with it. As for Auntie Cecilia or Mrs. Dapa, it has come to this road, and the OSP says that he's going to brief us and tell us whatever the outcome of the investigations will be. And I do not think that with the anxiety of the public, he should keep long.
The OSP?
Yes,
he should expedite.
Yeah, he shouldn't keep us waiting because we need to get to the bottom of the matter, whether it is an inheritance, whether it is a donation, whether it is money that was taken or some cuts, rough road in quotes, that was taken out of the 43 million, whether it is her own CDs that she has changed into dollars over time, because even that is problematic. So he should let us know exactly what the situation is and not leave us anxious as we are.
The argument has been made about whether the OSP should have taken interest in this. If you look at what the Act says and you go to section 3(1)(b), investigate and prosecute allegations of corruption and blah, 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 of political officers, politically exposed persons, etc. The OSP is right, is it not?
He is right.
And so Ghanaians have that right to have that perception and the conclusion they make.
Sure. So first of all, I want to say that in the first place in the courts, Madam Cecilia is a complainant and not the accused. But simply because she's a politically exposed person and a public servant, it has taken a different direction. And when it comes to the OSP, as you have rightly put it out there, the OSP doesn't need a complainant to investigate matters of this matter. And he has made it clear on several occasions that it's an independent, the office is an independent body. They don't need anyone to tell them what to do. So whatever the OSP is doing, he's not directed by anybody to do it, but he's doing it as an independent body. So first of all, when the issue came up, Madam Cecilia came out with a statement saying that there are inconsistencies, and at the right time, she will come out with a full disclosure. But as it stands right now, she's being investigated. For someone to say that she should have come to tell us the
what do you
source
make of that
money,
statement, inconsistencies?
Yeah, because
you put that in a statement, it means that people had different interpretations.
People took the charge sheet and then they were making submissions. But eventually, we realized that whatever was on the charge sheet the money wasn't only for her, but the report was made by herself and the husband.
That's not true.
It was made by her and the husband. So some of the money was for her and some was for the husband. So she came out with the statement that there were inconsistencies. So as to what the inconsistencies are, we will not be able to tell until she comes out herself to tell us what the inconsistencies are. But the point I'm making right now is that she's currently under investigation. So whatever inconsistencies she was referring to, I am sure she will answer to the OSP and any other body that is interested in the matter. And at the right time, it will come out. And like my sister is saying, we all believe that the OSP will expedite the action and then come out with the briefing to the public so that people will know what exactly the issues are instead of the speculations in the media. I want to say that so far, with all of these reasons being assigned, I want to state categorically that there hasn't been any official statement from the MPP. Whether they are funeral donations, they are from the brother or whatever. I think I watched Good Evening Ghana, and it was done by Paul Adam Ochre. Those are not official statements from the party. And as to whether Madam Cecilia was the one who told...
What about the funeral donation by an MC?
Anybody who makes such a submission is an individual position. But what I'm saying is that there hasn't been any official statement from the party saying that the monies were donations or they were monies from the brother. So let's get that right. So for me...
So the monies are what now?
We don't know until the investigation is concluded.
Okay, let me just, before you move on, let me just correct you on
that. Yeah, when I say that she will be vindicated, I don't mean that she will be cleared. Or I'm not preempting.
Because people are worried that the OSP will clear her and then everything will be free.
No, the OSP hasn't cleared anybody. Anybody who follows the OSP job knows that. So far, I will even say that he's biased against government because most of the people that they are calling to OSP are mostly government officials. I haven't had any instance that they have even invited anybody from the opposition. Maybe if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. So the OSP, who has the opportunity or authority to direct him to do its work, I am very confident that at the end of the day, they are going to do a clean and transparent job. And whatever the issues are, they will bring it to the public domain so that everybody will know where we are headed.
Madam Abibata, if you look at even the amended charge sheet, it does say, especially for the particulars of offense in count 1, the $1 million are the property of Cecilia Abinadapa.
Sure.
You go to the particulars of offense, as stated in count 2 on the charge sheet, 300,000 euros, property of Cecilia Abinadapa.
Is that the amended one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Unless if you have the third one, we'll just scroll. Just but you have my number. You just send it.
I don't have that. Yeah.
Now we have for count 3, 350 million Ghana cedis, the property of Cecilia Abinadapa.
350 million Ghana cedis.
350. Okay, it must be a mistake then. I'm seeing the sheet here. So,
I see.
Yeah, it must be a mistake.
So this is a new one. I haven't heard that. The 350 million.
Okay, 350,000. What I heard
was the $1 million and 300.
There's 35,000 USD of handbags, and those ones we'll leave them out. They are all properties, of course. Those are valued properties. And then jewelries, etc. But we're talking about the sums. At the end of the day, if you look at what the amended charge sheet, it does indicate the other property.
Yeah, so that is why I'm saying that at the end of the investigation, we'll all get to know what the truth is. And when I said she'll be vindicated, I don't mean that she'll be cleared. At the end of the day, when somebody is vindicated, it is with supporting documents and the proof is there. So as to how she acquired those monies, it will be made public.
Okay.
And when she's guilty too, yeah.
All right.
So for now, it will be very unfair for anyone to jump to conclusion that those monies were acquired illegally. My sister made mention of money laundering and all of those things. For me, I don't want to get into those issues right now. And we want to wait for the OSP to come out with his final briefing.
You're the CEO of Maslock.
Yes,
it's a very big organization.
Sure.
Okay. So supposing that, and I've known you before you became CEO, because you and I worked in certain areas as well. But if you, as a public officer, politically exposed person, you keep this huge amount of money in the house, what conclusion do you think your neighbor should draw?
For me, I don't think that I will keep such an amount. But of course, we have individual differences. The fact that I will not keep it does not mean that another person will not keep. There is no law in Ghana that says that people should not keep such monies at home. There is nothing. But of course, as public servants, we are guided by certain principles. And personally, I will not do that. But if she has put it, that is why I'm saying that it will be very unfair for us to sit here to conclude on how she acquired the money or how the money was kept. So for me, I think that let's believe in the judicial system. And then at the end of the day, whatever comes out will be what we all go by. And then my sister also made mention of a presidential staffer who also was robbed at home.
Reported. That's a report.
She was robbed at home about 2 a.m. And this is a lawyer who has been in practice for 16 years. MPP has
How much
been
was
in
robbed?
$114,000 and 800 euros. That was what was reported. This person has been a lawyer for 16 good years. NPP has only been in government for close to 70 years. So sometimes I think that where people get their money, we may not know, because this is somebody who was a private lawyer who was paid, and then maybe she's done her savings. So the fact that the person is linked to government does not necessarily mean that she acquired the money because she's working as a president.
You said how much was the fund again?
$114,000 and 800 euros.
All right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if me, and I've been queried by my bank before, this one even Ghana City.
Yeah.
Because they look at the chain of
transactions, deposits,
the deposits that are credited into my account, and they question, where is this coming from? If you look at the laws, anti-money laundering, what establishes the FIC, YOCO. I have lawyer friends who are on cases of individuals who have monies credited into the account, and questions are raised that the accounts are flagged. You can't do withdrawals, etc.
Because we have laws in this country that flags accounts for a certain quantum of money, deposits, and whatever is in your account. So this happens with the banking system itself, and then at the Bank of Ghana Financial Intelligence Center. It is a system that the nation has created to address issues of money laundering, counter-terrorism financing, amongst other illicit trade. When I raised a question about money laundering, I mentioned money laundering because that is what the law says. The law that they are using to pursue Cecilia Dapa. The whole thing about politically exposed persons, and this is what I'm referring to Nanaya, being a politically exposed person is not limited to your time only serving in office. Sure. When you are out of office, it still pursues you as a politically exposed person. Your family members who have no business doing with government are politically exposed persons. In fact, she, as a leading member of a political party, your friends, even she herself, you being a general secretary of a political party, you were a politically exposed person. So the definition of a politically exposed person is vast and wide. And unfortunately for Madame Cecilia Dapa, this whole scenario that she's found herself in is clustered within the scope of a politically exposed person and the people associated with her, who are all politically exposed persons, per the definition. Now, in Ghana, we use this thing, as I've mentioned, to flag illicit funding and financing, and also to help address corruption. But does it really work? Today, I think that we have another test case. I think that fellow Ghanaians, if you are listening and you are watching,
Who is fellow Ghanaians?
the Akufo-Addo's reference to citizens of Ghana, petition the OSP to investigate the second person, the second staffer who has lost $114,000. It doesn't matter whether she's been well for 30 years. She still has to explain how per her salary of less than 30,000 Ghana cedis a month, she's able to accumulate 114,000. If it is her savings, she should explain how she came by that savings.
It should be in the bank.
And this issue is even another contentious issue, because here's a case where a political party came into power. The first thing they did was to destroy people's banks, render people's accounts useless, destroy households and families, impose hardships, and they come and tell us that they have sanctified the financial system. And yet they have no belief in the financial system and choose to put their monies in their homes. They've opened domestic bank accounts and domestic banks in their houses and their bedrooms, whilst the financial sector is deprived of monies printed by the Republic of Ghana for transactions and to boost the economy of this country. When you deny these funds access into the public stream, where people can borrow funds, use it to invest, grow this economy, you are, in fact, you are nothing less than an enemy of the state. And pursuant to this, Roland, I think that Ghanaians, some of the things politicians are unable to help us, so we have to help ourselves. If you live in a neighborhood,
You are a politician yourself.
I live in a neighborhood, they know me already, I've been there 27 years. If you are in a neighborhood and you are with a political person, monitor them. If you see that the lifestyle is not commensurate to their salaries and what they earn, start raising petitions. We should inundate. But it's there for everybody. Akufo-Addo's one is 40,000. Everybody below him is below 40,000. So, Roland, the fellow Ghanaians should help us to fight corruption, because unfortunately, Nana Akufo-Addo and his government cannot help us. But there's something also I found interesting. Yesterday, the Deputy Attorney General was on City, Bernard's program on City, and he was asked about this Cecilia Dapa issue.
This matter.
Yes, and he said that they received the dockets and they're going to advise. I thought the Office of Special Prosecutor is supposed to be an independent body. So what business does government advice got to do with this? Or they've also concluded what they are going to push on the OSP. I think that the OSP owes it to himself to stand independent in this matter, because right now all eyes are on him and how he's going to address this issue. Madam Cecilia Dapa has been shown, and Nana Akufo-Addo has made us aware that she's his darling. In fact, I'm not surprised, because at the time when we were all complaining...
What do you mean by darling?
I'm coming. At the time when we were all complaining about how hard the economy was and how things had gone bad, she was the only person who told us that the glass is half full and not half empty. Obviously, that should tell you the kind of relationship that she has with the man. But it goes without saying, what has happened today because of this whole spectacle has proven that the NPP has no belief in the financial sector, that the NPP has been sitting, watching, especially Akufo-Addo, watching whilst his appointees accumulate wealth without Akufo-Addo holding them to account. The promise that when you come into government, if you want money, go to the private sector, was nothing but empty air. Another slogan by Akufo-Addo aimed at doing nothing for this country. And to be honest with you, the Akufo-Addo, his fight against corruption and his appointees have just been disappointing.
Now, there's a Currency Act. The Currency Act of the Currency Act 1964.
1964.
Yes, you go to section. Okay. Now you go to section. (1964). So okay. So we have section 1. You go to section 2. Section 2A. It says, any person who buys or sells or offers to attempts to buy or sell, and then subsequently goes to section B, section 2B, 2C. Now, 2C says, any person who offers or accepts or offers to accept in payment of a debt or otherwise in foreign currency is flouting the regulation.
It's always...
So just, sorry.
That was what we were trying to do, dollarize the economy.
Yeah, of course, of
Yes.
course, of course. But it's a standing law,
Yes.
and ideally you're not supposed to keep that.
Yes. Yep.
Even you accepting that,
It's
whether it's a funeral donation or whatever it is,
you should change it into CD.
So-
or you send it to the bank.
Yeah, to do your transactions, because it is there. It's legal. I mean, it is been said that you cannot have transactions in dollars. So that you remember, the banks, not the bank, the hotels were asked not to charge in dollars, because sometimes when you go to the hotels, their rates are in dollars. And the Bank of Ghana brought this thing, an order that nobody in the country, as a way of curbing the fall, the depreciation of the cedi, that we should not, transact businesses in dollars. But if you look at the way our importation level is, certainly you find people who have to send money abroad, change money and all that. And I think for some time, it's as if that law does not exist. And especially if we find people in government themselves flouting the law. Because on that alone is a criminal thing, because you have been asked that there's a law which says there has been an order that you should not keep money.
Even their current directives following the depreciation from September, October, November.
Yes, so there's there, but it's as if these days with this government, when directives are given, it's as if they are.
Have you spoken to Madam Cecilia Dapa yourself?
No, not yet. I not yet.
You have to try so that you give us the feedback.
Not yet. I want to find time. But at this moment, I don't think she will be in the mood to talk too much. But I have made up my mind that we have to get to the bottom of all this. It is very, very essential. But as I'm saying, fundamentally, for instance, the lawyer must be a lawyer of maybe international repute, must be anything. But her own is even more serious than Cecilia, because she knows the law. And she knows typically she should not keep money in dollars. I sympathize with people who are robbed. It is not a good thing. But once the law says that you do not do it, and as a lawyer, and also in government, you should know it is wrong, but you should set a good example. We are all, as Gabriela said, we are all politically exposed persons, and once you come into this fray, everything changes. When I entered this morning, I was saying that I miss my civil days, because you could do anything, you could go anywhere and be okay. Even now, the way you dress is even affected. How you speak, how you do things. Times
how you conduct yourself.
Yes, times change around you immediately. There are things that you cannot do. There are places that you cannot go. Did you understand? So as long as you are in this fray, you need to be careful. But also the confidence in our city is key. It's as if everybody is losing sight of the fact that some of these actions are coming up because of the confidence in our city. Because, for instance, a friend who is an importer used to go round with a certain amount of money, which gave him $200,000 in somewhere in 2021, early 2022. Today, that same amount is giving her $78,000. So granted that if she had kept her money in dollars, if somebody changed 650,000 Ghana cedis in early 2022, the person would have gotten $100,000 today. It is not like that.
Okay. And
the person would have even gained. Now, if the person changes the same money into cedis, the person has gained by 550,000 Ghana cedis.
All right.